Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's review, New Zealand 71, Namibia 3. Not a good day at the office for Namibia, who I just get frustrated at, to be honest, because it's just they've never won a World Cup game, and they were never going to win a World Cup game against New Zealand. But there comes a time where you need to start taking a bit more responsibility over your performances, and I think tonight was the night where that needs to happen. Too many errors, too many basic errors, too much try line fever, too many times where they had opportunities to score and just try to push the issue, didn't remain disciplined, basic errors. We're talking about kicking out in the full in the touch. We're talking about kicking out in the full in 22s, dropping the ball 10 meters out from a standard pop. It was torrid for Namibia, and it sounds very harsh, but it just comes down to it. This is a World Cup. And yes, they're a tier 2 nation. They're not a tier 1 nation. Yes, there's always going to be a huge gulf in class. But there are players playing in this Namibia side who play professional rugby, who played URCs, played Super Rugby. And they just don't see any of these players, willing to stand up and be counted. And the All Blacks were good for stages, were very good. And sometimes they had some really well-constructed moments and played well. But they didn't have to play well, and they scored 71 points. And that's the reality. They scored counter-attack tries. Every single time they passed it more than 2-3 times out wide, they found space. All they had to do was decide to run at slight angle, and they would break tackles. I mean, we're going to go through some of the stats now, and it just shows an absolute rollicking, to be honest. But yeah, let's go through it, shall we? I'm not going to go through the entire game and suppose exactly what happened, because all I'm going to do really is read out the tries and when they were scored. Cameron Roy-Gott, what a player, by the way. What an absolute star on the rise. 2 tries, 2 try assists. Was handing out tries like it was going out of fashion. Christmas presents from him. A try in the 2nd minute, a try in the 7th minute. He then assisted Daniel McKenzie in the 19th minute and assisted Daniel McKenzie once again in the 38th minute. Brilliant performance from the young scrum half. The only points from Namibia came through the boot of Tian Swanepoel in the 11th minute. Daniel McKenzie scoring a try in the 19th. Lester Vangaluko going over in the 24th. Anthony Brown in the 35th. Daniel McKenzie in the 38th. It was 38 points to 3 at half time. And originally, early on in the first half, Ethan de Groot came on in his first touch of the ball. He ran over, carrying basically Devon Rousseau with him over to score his try. But then, to give Namibia a bit of credit, they started to play it a little bit and they started to slow down, stem the flow really. 48 points to 3 after 54 minutes. Havili scoring a try in the 58th minute. And then bang, Caleb Clark 67 minutes. Rico Awani 77 minutes. But the big news, and I suppose maybe potentially the biggest news of the game, Ethan de Groot red card. And this is where these games can become quite interesting because they mean nothing in the grand scheme of things because New Zealand was always going to win that game. New Zealand was always going to win that game very well. But all of a sudden, Ethan de Groot has gone into a tackle high. He was given a yellow card. It's been upgraded to a red card. And all of a sudden, he has to now appear at a disciplinary on Monday or Tuesday with the rest of his tournament in jeopardy because of a high tackle. So, and everyone keeps complaining about, oh, there's too many red cards, too many this. At the end of the day, there are too many tackles like this. There are too many shoulder-to-head contact situations. Yes, I can understand the frustration with how some of these are treated differently, but the reality is that these rules have come in to try and prevent these head-on head collisions and shoulder-head collisions, and we're still seeing far too many players going upright in the tackles. They're giving them to the referees' decisions to make, and they're potentially jeopardizing their tournament. And until players start taking more responsibility about it, there's not a lot World Rugby and the likes can do, because at the end of the day, what is supposed to happen? Ethan de Groot has gone into a tackle high. His shoulder has connected with the head of the player, and he's got a red card. That wasn't the only injury, by the way. It was a horror injury to Leroux Milan, and thoughts go out to him, and hopefully it's not as bad as it looked. But yeah, we saw a foot going in a direction it shouldn't have been going. It was pretty sickening to watch during the stream as well. But let's look at some of the stats, shall we? Overall, 64% possession, 45% territory. Namibia were just actually in New Zealand half quite a lot. Just couldn't do anything with it. 11 tries is you can't dress it up. People will say Namibia showed heart. 11 tries is a thumping. 8 conversions. New Zealand ran 733 meters, beating 43 defenders, 22 clean breaks, 77 gain line carries, 189 passes, 9 offloads, 5 turnovers, 1 apiece, 25 kicks from hand. You look at the tackles made, and Namibia were asked to make 113, and they missed 43. They actually they were worse than last week, where they were the worst defense in the first round. This week it was even worse than that. New Zealand actually went phenomenal. They also missed quite a few tackles, but they only were asked to make 67, of which they missed 11. Dan McKenzie missing 3 conversions. The ruck success rate for Namibia is 90%, and New Zealand's 95%. Namibia are losing 5 lineouts. Again, that's something that can be practiced. Your set piece can be practiced. That can be something that can be quite solid no matter what team you are. Losing a scrum, the scrums are pretty dreadful. New Zealand's cost, you can see the 12 penalties. That actually would be an area of concern for New Zealand to have such a bad disciplinary record. Not that Namibia really made them pay for it. And then a red card, which is a big moment. In terms of some individual performances, I think the standouts for me from a New Zealand perspective were the likes of a Sam Whitelock still looks world class. Brodie Retallick got around the park very nicely. Artie Sevier was busy. Dalton Papali'i scored a nice try. Damian McKenzie was absolutely world class tonight. Anton Brown, David Havili looked pretty good as a combination. David Havili for me has to be the starting centre. If you've got no Geordie Barrett, Bowden Barrett once again just looks so comfortable at fullback. Again, back to the joint ball for Namibia. They've got France next week. I don't expect things to get much better from them. They were targeting that Uruguay game, but unless something big happens and there's a huge shift in the confidence and the way this team plays, it's difficult to see them getting their first win of the World Cup history for Namibia in this tournament. Let me know what you thought about the game down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon.